Okay, this is the Ndopi portrait of King Mishang Mabu. And the date of this statue is 1760 to 1780. And it is made out of wood and camwood powder. And this actually comes from local Africa. I think this is from the actual Congo. Um, I think this is the Bengali Congo. Oh, actually, it's the Balagian Congo of the European country's colony, actually, where this is picked up and then shipped to the Brooklyn Museum. But to get on to the formal qualities of this statue, we actually can scroll down here because I'm actually looking off these notes actually because this piece is actually very interesting and how it was influenced from the kings of the time, and what they really wanted to do was actually pass down the information and the overall stature and facial features of the king, and how they wanted to make it look like a royal piece. So here, I believe we have yeah, for this part here, we have the expression on the face, the position of the body, and the regalia. The regalia were meant to be faithfully represented the ideal of the king, but not the individual king. So this is basically, the piece that is supposed to portray the figure of a king, a royalty, but not the king himself. But the king himself did actually influence the piece. And when we actually look at the rounded contours, the created forms, and defined head, and the shoulders of the stomach were also had a defined features of the collarbone as well. And this piece also features relative naturalism, and and it may have to appear to have been informed by the artist's one-to-one observation of the Ndop sculptures. And to mention this, Ndopi is actually, the name is actually Ndopie. Excuse me, but the Ndopi sculptures are the actual name Ndopi actually means statue. So in the native language. So when we actually look at the contours of how this piece actually looks similar to more of a silver, kind of like a metal-like piece from a distance, and it's actually very interesting how they were able to do that. This piece mainly functioned as an honorary piece for Mish, and what he functioned for the people native to that Congo area in 1710. He actually commissioned this statue, this Ndopi statue, to be made in his honor, and his overall rules and his followers, his loyal subjects, were actually honored in this piece. So for the content, what we have here is basically not only just a piece of where it's supposed to be portraying, a higher figure, a more kind of what you would call a dominant figure within society, and what people would honor, for just the overall societal purposes. This is not just for that. This would be more of a piece where you can see it as a way of transporting information into the future generations. And actually, Khan Academy actually goes more in depth with that, and it's kind of like we have this statue here, and it's sending a message to the future generations. And I'm very surprised that actually the Brooklyn Museum, a place of diverse culture, actually picked this up, and our generation is able to witness this statue, able to gain information from it, see kind of how African kings have played a role in the past of African history, and just basically how how the tables have kind of turned, in which, African history used to be, well, African lineage actually used to be, more of royalty, more of, a vibrant society. And, Khan Academy also mentions the invasions of the Europeans. We also see how, the Europeans actually came in and actually influenced some of these kings and actually took down these kings who didn't want the influence, didn't want, the Europeans to come in and take their resources. And we actually see this influence of how, slavery got into the push, and now we start to see this, the rejection of African royalty and more of African slavery. And then we see a transformation into African American civil rights, and then we see, more of what you would call just African American equality with Martin Luther King and things like that. But it's kind of like a representatory piece on how African kingship, or whatever you want to call it, royalty used to be, and now it's kind of like just a representation of how far we have come from that position. And that's basically what this piece is about. I actually wanted to add in an extra thing. We needed to get into the links as well. This piece, I actually wanted to link this piece to the honorary Buddha statue that's located in that Japan temple. I'm not sure of the name, but the overall representation of a royal figure and how it's more of an honorary piece, and being so that certain curvatures and contours were made just so that they can get the correct proportions and depict royalty, and and not only that, but a sort of a standpoint of divinity amongst the people, to differentiate themselves from just regular people, and actually a meaningful figure, and actually standing over society and even leading society. Because both of these figures, Buddha and the Ndop statue, have had represent a king, or a prophet that actually led their set civilization, or even a set group of people, into prosperity. And now, that's the end.